Hello, good evening, everyone. We are all here to start with Women's Ascension Peace for Justice, Peace and Justice, and we are here with batch 2. So before we start with small introductory session in which we're going to introduce each other and know our motives to join this program, the idea behind Women Ascension Peace and Justice was very clear: to make youth and the commoner, which we assume that don't have the power to understand how to work towards peace and justice, how important their perspective and element can change the whole strategy towards attaining SDG 16, that is peace and justice. So here we are with a group of intellects from around the world, and we have our keynote speaker with us. Let me give a brief introduction about her, Ms. Porciano. Ms. Porciano Beatrice, she is candidate of divinity working within the Center for the Study of Religion and Politics at University of St. Andrews, and she is continuing her education of doctorate at Scotland, UK. She has many publications on ecology and interreligious dialogues. She is the author of Women Declaration for Shared Humanity. Her work, especially on UNESCO, Chair for Peace, Culture, Development and Politics, IIGM at Italy, she is concerned with the integration policies for migrants and refugees, especially promoting universal access to education. Particularly interested in expanding the voices of academia, she worked with the European Academy for Religion and was selected as research associate for the research project scholars at the Peripheries and network, including scholars from Global South, with a particular aim of decolonizing the academic curricula and voices. Without wasting much time, I would like to call Ms. Porciano. So please, Ms. Porciano, the floor is over to you.
Thank you very much, Mahin, for this introduction. First, a question: can you hear me loud and clear? Can you all hear me?
Yes, clear.
Fantastic.
Yes, okay.
Thank you. Good. Thank you very much. So today I'm going to focus on the need to construct peace and justice, starting from the need to change a widespread Western philosophical perspective. I'm afraid I will start from a Western philosophical perspective because it's the one I am more acquainted with. I was born within the Western context. And so to give you my best, I will start by analyzing the need to change this widespread Western philosophical perspective, which is detrimental at a global level when it comes to recognize not just the rights of women or other people, but even their existence, which tends to be devoured by the selfish dynamics, short-sightedness, and insecurities of the self. To put it in simple and contemporary terms, I will explore from a philosophical perspective our need to affirm ourselves, may it be in the context of work, community, or social media. In this context, the self, we tend to become oppressors of the others just for the sake of aggrandizing ourselves through discourses and actions that neglect the others, the oppressed, the ones who do not have jobs, the ones who do not have rights, the ones who are invisible on social media platforms as much as in reality or in our conscience. So apologies in advance if my discourse is going to be a little bit philosophical, but that's a good point to start realizing what's the problem of constructing the problem we encounter when we try to construct peace and justice. There's a philosophical problem that we need to tackle in order to be able to move on and act effectively. So in the modern time, the subject, the person, the self, tends to delegitimize the other person. And the other person becomes devoured by the total legitimation of the self and its omnivorous centrality. So every reality in the universe, may it be another person, may it be the planet, may it be ecology, may it be an object, every reality in the universe is devoured by the enlargement, sucking of the consciousness of the self. So the knowing of the Western self does not mean knowing the other person, knowing the other object for what it is. Most of the times, the Western subject, the Western self, is not able to know the other person, the other object, the other entity of the universe for what it is. The Western self is unable to do this movement of going out of itself in order to know the reality of something that is different from itself. The Western self, the Western subject tends to be so scared that what it does is to devour whatever is different from itself. So it's unable to conceive the newness given by the otherness. Instead, what it does is assimilating the person, the object of the cognitive act. So in the moment I try to know whatever is beyond myself, so what I do is assimilating the object of this cognitive act into the structure of my own experience. So I am unable to know you for what you are, as different as you are from me. And I'm scared of knowing the other person that is different from me. I'm so scared that what I tend to do is to know you through the structures that belong to my own experience. So I reduce you, whatever you are, whoever you are, to my own experience. It's, for example, just let me make you an example. So, for example, I'm Italian. And so, for example, when an Italian person tries to explain what is noodles, noodles, everyone loves noodles, right? So an Italian person might say, so what are noodles? If you ask that to an Italian person might say, noodles are like spaghetti. So that is the reduction that I'm talking about. So as an Italian person, as a Western person, I am unable to talk about noodles for what they are. I'm unable to describe their diversity. And I'm so scared of their diversity that I tend to reduce their diversity to something that I already know. Because I'm Italian, instead of describing what noodles are, I assimilate the noodles to something that is very known to me, that is very familiar to me. So I reduce the diversity of the noodles to what I know, which is spaghetti. Apologies for this example, which may sound banal, but I was becoming a little bit too philosophical. So just I hope that through this example, I've tried to be a little bit clear when it comes to these philosophical trends. So reducing, being unable to know what is different from me, may it be another person, may it be an object, may it be the planet, reducing that person to what I already know, reducing that person to reducing the otherness to my categories, to my experience, because I am unable to do this movement of going beyond myself, of going beyond my experience to actually meet the otherness and its diversity. And why? Because it's profoundly scaring to encounter something that is fundamentally, radically different from me, from my experience, from my culture. So what I do, what the Western self has been doing for centuries now, is to reduce the difference to its own categories, to its own experience. So to devour the difference and reducing that difference to the subject. And these dynamics of the self must be deconstructed. So Mahin was kindly introducing my curriculum vitae, and she was talking about my effort to deconstruct the Western curricula within university in order to create new curricula. So within universities, there's a urgent need to deconstruct these Western curricula made of very important thinkers and very important change makers, but most of them are from the Western culture. So we need to deconstruct those curricula in order to introduce more voices from the global South and also more voices from different perspectives, and also more female voices within the academic curricula. But let me go forward with my philosophical reflection. I will try to be concise. I think I have just a few minutes left, don't I? I think.
No, Ms. Rojana, you can take time. You have time.
Okay, thank you so much. So where were we? So in the modern time, we have this major problem, and these dynamics can only guarantee the subject. I'm sorry? Someone said something?
Sorry, my microphone was on. So.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Okay. All right. So we have the subject, which tends to go through the total delegitimation of the otherness as such. And consequently, we have the total legitimation of its own omnivorous centrality. In this sense, it is no exaggeration to say that nihilism is the DNA of the modern Western man, and in particular of modern Western thought, because he cannot get rid of it without freeing himself of himself, without radically questioning his cultural and historical identity, and refusing to recognize himself in his time. An individual who identifies with his own situation to the extent that he is unable to transcend it would not be a man, and would not be a man able to meet another man. So unless these Western dynamics changes, we have a fundamental problem, the problem of being unable to transcend ourselves in order to meet the other person, in order to meet the alterity, in order to meet the otherness for what it is, something that should not be reduced to myself, something that should not be reduced to my experience, something that should not be reduced to the category of my consciousness, but something that should be met for its difference, something or someone that should be met and recognized for its difference, and whose rights should be respected and not assimilated, but respected as something that is beyond ourselves, that must be requires that the individual needs to transcend this centrality, needs to be a little bit more humble in order to accept that there is something, there is a newness, there is a richness given by the otherness that should be explored, discovered. It is scary, but it is the only way that that subject can grow. And I think that's it from my side. But if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
I'm open to hearing questions too. Lovely Persiana, you just included very important point about inclusion of diversity. It's one of the key elements toward promoting peace. Lovely point. So anybody has a question, or we should move towards introducing ourselves? Dear candidates. All right, so I think we don't have any questions. Ms. Porciana, these candidates would like to introduce themselves and would like to share the projects they are going to start under WAPJ. So we're going to start with Mr. Andrew first. Mr. Andrew, he's from Zambia, and he is one of the exceptional candidates. Why? Because I've worked with him before he joined WAPJ. He is very active in African Union platforms, very active in promoting peace among youth especially. So Mr. Andrew, over to you, please.
Right, thank you so much, Mahi. I hope everybody can hear me. Had an insight to patients from Prasanna. We appreciate that. So my name is Andrew Ndanga, and I actually hold a bachelor's degree in peace and conflict resolution, and I just received my certificate yesterday on Friday on pursuing my master's in peace and sustainable development at the Copperbelt University. So I'm so passionate about the ideas of peace, especially on the ground, peace and justice. So passionate about it because we cannot sustain peace without first development and also justice. So this is what really makes me to be a young person that's so passionate about it. I also am a regional coordinator for leadership in Africa at Students for Liberty, one of the organizations around the world. Apart from that, I'm also the project lead for Zambia Peace and Conflict and Development Initiative that's run by Gloria Hingoma right in Zambia. I'm the youth project lead there. I'm so excited to be part of the Women Ascension because I will be helping my fellow young people on how we'll be able to sustain peace and justice, not only in Zambia, but I'm excited that around the world. I'm happy to meet Khan, I'm happy to meet Lulu, Wagan, Raz, Blessing, and everyone that is here. So that's about me. I'm very excited about it. Thank you so much, Maher.
Thank you, Mr. Andrew, for your introduction. And and we should move towards our next speaker, Miss Blessing. Miss Blessing, can you hear me?
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Miss Blessing. Miss Blessing, she is from Zimbabwe. Miss Blessing, could you please introduce yourself?
All right, my name is Blessing. I'm from Zimbabwe. I am a graduate in peace and governance. I've been taking part in many projects with different organizations that work with women as well as children. I was a volunteer and I'm still volunteering with organizations that work with children's rights. Well, I'm mostly these days I'm focusing on children's rights as well as women's rights. The project that we are working on right now is mainly on students, the university students, where they are facing many difficulties, especially women. There are many cases of date rape where women are being raped by their boyfriends, and it's not even considered as rape because they say it's consensual. So we are mainly working on that project with an organization called Student Christian Movement, which is in Zimbabwe, to address those issues whereby justice should be served to the ladies, because if you say no, it's a no. So those are the projects that I'm working on. I'm happy to join the team as I will working on the social justice to address the issue of egalitarianism, to see if it is the same as social justice, as well as working on the human rights, the concept of women's inferior intellect, as well as the women and politics, how to bring women into politics and how to upgrade them into the politics sector. I think that will be all from my side.
Thank you, Ms. Blessing. We have next Mr. Jawad Khan from Pakistan. Mr. Jawad.
I think you need to unmute your microphone.
Yeah, I'm just doing so. I hope it's working.
Sorry about that. I forgot it. So hello everyone, my name is Jawad Khan and I'm from Peshawar, Pakistan. I have completed graduate BS in Disaster Management from Peshawar University, and I'm currently pursuing Masters in Disaster Management. Also, I'm a volunteer for Pakistan Red Crescent Society, and the projects I will be working are religious intolerance and domestic abuse. And because I care about them and I feel like they're not much talked about and discussed. So yeah, that's all from my side.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jawad. Very prominent topic you have chosen, and all the best with that. All right, so we have next candidate, Miss Madiha. Miss Madiha, she is also from Pakistan, Portiana. So Miss Madiha, please, over to you.
Okay, so I graduated last year with a bachelor's in psychology. And after that, I took up a job with Pakistan Alliance for Girls Education. It's an NGO that's working to promote gender equity in education. And my role in that position was to work as a psychosocial counselor. So I was interacting a lot with marginalized groups, particularly women and children from these groups. And it was actually a really important experience because I did learn about how the systemic and structural inequalities that these women and these children were exposed to, how they were having an impact on their mental health. And that is why I will be pursuing a master's in mental health counseling this year in the US, if everything goes well. And what I want to do is that once I'm done with my graduate studies, I want to open up my own organization where I can provide mental health services to people from marginalized and oppressed communities, particularly women, because I want to look at their psychological problems, their psychological distress within the context of the structural inequalities that cause them, the patriarchal norms that oppress them and that marginalize them. So yeah, this is why I've also joined this internship program, so that I can learn more about justice and social justice and peace and all of that. So that's all from my side.
Thank you, Madiha. All right, so the next person that I'm going to introduce you is Sumbul Malik. And what is the most, the best thing about her? I've known her since like 2 months, Miss Porciana, that she's one of the candidates who's exceptionally good at, diversifying and also learning different prospects, not just professionally, but also she has a very good understanding with people-oriented problem. So I really hope to see Ms. Sumbul leading many, many causes ahead. So Ms. Sumbul, over to you. Please introduce yourself. I hope she can hear me. Ms. Sumbul? All right. Meanwhile, we can move towards our next candidate, Ms. Sunana. During our interview, Porciana, Ms. Sunana, just explain me how much she has contributed towards different causes. And one of the causes was to sustain and towards sustainability. So, Ms. Sunana, please introduce yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. This is Sunana Riaz. I'm 24-year-old IR graduate from UTM's University, Quetta. And I have been involved in a lot of socio-political activities during my BS. And most of them related to women empowerment, women leadership. And as a woman entrepreneur, I have contributed a lot in my small business, which was also related to the household women and their hand artworks. And due to this, I closely analyze and observe them and their working and their surroundings, what they are facing and how they contribute. So I always like the idea to bring every woman to the front row for the contribution through their own capabilities. And due to this, I also lead my girl society of my university, and also joins a lot of women empowerment women empowerment and a lot of different social inclusion and diversity functions as a leading member. After that, I achieved a Women to Women India Pakistan scholarship by United States of America, where I closely analyze different cross-border situations and relate them to my experiences. And my thesis was also related to climate change, and it was a very plus point for me to analyze how climate change and my contribution is interrelated. And that's why my project, which I will be focusing in this internship, is related to ecology and women, that how women can contribute in ecology and in climate change, because we have no ecofeminism concept in our society. And I want to learn more about this perspective, because it leads to justice and peace. And because climate change always creates and exaggerates economics and other grievances, which leads to further peace and justice. And that's why I'm going to contribute to this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunana. All right. Porciana, our next candidate is from Zambia, and his name is Mr. Zulu, Togola Zulu. He has experience not only to work towards peace and security, but he is very much working towards transitioning the society towards peace. So, Mr. Togola, please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. Hear me?
Yes, we can.
So my full name is Tugala Zulu, and I'm from Zambia. I'm a recent graduate. I graduated in 2020 from the University of Zambia, where I pursued a double major degree in political science and philosophy. And during my studies also, I attended some political and philosophy classes at the University of Hradec Kralov in the Czech Republic. So the focus and the major has been political science, and I've really focused on the issues surrounding peace and security around the world, and narrowing it down to the region up to the local levels. And regarding peace and security issues, I have worked with the Commercial Secretariat as a junior expert in research and conflict analysis, and mainly the issues were centered on peace and security threats in the commercial region. And while I was at Commercial, I mainly supported the governance, peace and security team of the conflict analysts and experts with the preparation of substantive reports on the peace and security in the region. I was given an opportunity also to come up with the new research projects for publications related to youth, peace, security, climate change, and children in armed conflict. I also successfully engaged with experts and analysts in presenting the critical analysis of reports on early conflict warning and the trending peace and security issues in the region. I also successfully managed to engage in research and produced policy-informed papers on the impact of COVID-19 on the elections in the region, as well as I also managed to produce a research report on the political transition in Somalia, and also managed to engage in the country resilience and fragility assessment of Mauritania, Morocco, and Tunisia. So I've been with Comesa for a period of 1 year, and this 1 year has given me so much interest, and the skills and the experience that have developed have motivated me, giving me that excitement to continue working towards the promotion of peace and security in different parts of the world. And this is what motivated me when I saw an ad on for Women's Ascension, giving this opportunity and platform to participate towards solutions on peace and justice. I thought, let me take this opportunity and contribute what I know, and also to learn from different people. As the earlier speakers said, that this problem of self-centeredness is one of the challenges that prevents us from reaching an ultimate goal. But if we are able to look and take things from a different perspective, perhaps we might be able to find that ultimate solution that we are looking for. So for me, working with Women Ascension is that part of objective where I want to learn from different people, to learn different perspective, and also having that understanding of different approach and mechanisms towards the issues of peace and security. My many interests is to research, document, and prepare reports and presentation through collection and critical analysis of information on peace and security threats around the globe, as well as also sharing of analytical early conflict warning reports, analysis reports on political transition, transitional justice, post-war or conflict reconstruction, conflict resolution, and peace building, as well as analysis of structural vulnerabilities and country resilience and fragility assessment for the development of viable tools and frameworks for early conflict warning and prevention. And with the Women's Ascension, the project of choice that I would love to work on is on the transitional justice. And so I'll be looking at the role of women in transitional justice. And the reason why I included women, or why I'm focusing on women, I want to see how effective a gender mainstream approach towards the attainment of peace and justice, how viable is it? I don't know if I can call it allegations or speculations or assumptions, but women have been, excluded in peace building processes. If they are involved, they are just their voices and the authority it doesn't have that huge impact, perhaps maybe because the way these institutions have been designed or some other challenges. And so I would love to do a very deep study, research on the impact of women involvement in transitional justice, and the focus will be in post-conflict countries in Africa. And the reason why I also chose transitional justice is very, very important, because after conflict, or you see a lot of victims are produced, and for settlement, for the settlement to be agreed upon or recognized, some kind of justice must be achieved. I believe that's when we can have sustainable peace and security. And I feel that transitional justice in itself is that tool that would prevent recurrent peace and security challenges. So I look forward to working with people from different countries. I have Andrew from Zambia, and the colleagues from Pakistan and Zimbabwe. I look forward to working with you guys and learning different things, sharing different experiences and perspectives. And currently, I just recently joined the Zambian Peace Conflict Resolution and Development Initiative Organization, where I will be directing the research unit, and I also be working on early conflict warning systems and tools. So this is what I can say about myself for now. I think I've summarized. Yeah, this is my introduction. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Zulu. Very lovely presentation about yourself and what you're aiming to do at WAPJ. Lovely hearing your thoughts. All right, we're moving towards our associate of a WAPG program, and his name is Mr. Waqas Umar from Pakistan. All right, he has a multiple talent, and he has contributed towards human rights a lot. He is a consultant, visiting faculty, and at Business Commerce at Human Rights Protection Center. And he has been ambassador and fellow at ELEAD, Global Center of Excellence for Leadership, Engagement, and Development, and a reviewer for United Nations Project. He is a former assistant manager at Oxford University Press and assistant regional manager at Educational Services Association for Academic Quality and Service Quality Coordinator at Mizan Bank. So his research interest usually includes peace and justice, diversity and inclusion, HRM, practices, and the quality and impact of the academic research. In addition to this, he has a keen interest and working on women glass ceiling domain and issues relating to change of organizational design and development and process improvement. In this context, he is the editor and reviewer of the several international journals that retrieves and analysis academic contributions. As of January 2030, he has been listed of the articles have been recited more than 160 times in journals in Social Science Citations Index. On his professional side, Mr. Waqas remains manager level executive for more than 15 years, broad-based multinational corporate experience in human resources, strategic business planning, leadership development, organizational design and development process improvement, and employee engagement. Earned a reputation for leadership, dedication, flexibility, and positive work ethic, facilitated and retained through impacting the life of 1,000+ colleagues. So, Mr. Waqas, over to you. All ears. We are all ears to hear your thoughts.
Thanks, Heen. Actually, it's I think all you did very comprehensive presentation about my introduction. Anyhow, I'm being asked to present myself intro, and so let's get started with the name. As she said, Waqas Umar Malik, my name and career objective is to be a hunt of any organization, and luckily the WAPG is a cause-oriented project, and I love to be a part of this. Regarding my qualification, I'm currently doing PhD from University of Central Punjab, and a very fascinating presentation by Persiona. Again, she did she presented a very precise and detailed presentation through by constructing a complete domain regarding the peace and justice instead of just defining, and which is very strategically very impressive. On side of my exposure, simply I'm an individual with the diversified experience in rare mix of corporate and academia, and in my professional development, diversity, performance management system, learning, OD, especially ISO framework. I love to be do this kind of activities, strategic management, and especially I have exposure in digitizing organization processes, and almost 12 years plus experience in banking, education, and publishing sector. I was also part of Oxford University Press, and I have various certifications from OPT and Oxford certifications. Apart from this, I was also employed with the Association for Academic Quality, which is directly related to Sustainable Development Goal 4th. Currently, I'm working on glass ceiling domain in association with the Women Professional Development Concept, which is suitable regarding this forum. And I have, I guess I have led the organization domain in academia and most importantly in peace justice domain and the sphere. In my working of advisor and consultancy, I was also engaged with different international programs. Now engaging and facilitating E-Lead Center of Excellence state as ambassador and fellow, and also looking so be a part of different United States and the United Nations projects, where I look after and see regarding the Kenny state regarding and Kenya and United States of America and Foundation. These are the some projects of United Nations climate action, where SDG hit, we directly hit the sustainable development goal of climate action, quality education, and below bottom. So that's all about my introduction and question and theory available. Happy to be this very different and integral community. Learn about you people with different ways. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vakas. Thank you for your words. All right, so we are concluded with our candidates, Ms. Porciano. So any advice that would you like to give to them, please, so that they should keep that thing in mind while they're doing their different projects they have designed for themselves according to their area of interest. So anything would you like to give them as a piece of advice?
Yes, Mahim, thank you. So my advice is to follow your passion and put as much hard work as you can. So first, choose your topic of research by following your passion, your mission, and then put in as much hard work as you need to. And we're here. I mean, I am here and my colleagues are here to support you throughout this internship. And honestly, as far as I've heard, you're all very much qualified to be able to succeed through this internship. So just give us the best and we will learn from you just as much as you will learn from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Porciana. There's one last thing I would like to add, that what really made us start with WAPJ. We've been around the world, we meet different people. All right, we have heard about different issues regarding peace. One thing which is missing is how to actually analyze the truth. News is there, information is there, what is right and what is wrong, how to analyze it. This piece was very important. Secondly, to build ourselves in a way that we accept the differences. We appreciate the differences, but morally. That point was also very much needed in WAPJ. So the idea of pluralism was very much included with the peace and justice. It played a very key role. So what is requested from you all is that I can see different culture at this small program. In 12 piece program, we have different culture, different ideas, different way of facing things, maybe analyzing things very differently, right? So not just as a person, I'm going to learn from you guys. I really want you all to build a bond in which we truly enjoy the differences and we can contribute towards the gap which is there in different areas. So I really, really hope that this small program could lead all of you towards the wish that you want to contribute in your area, that segment which is missing, we could able to make it happen for you. So it's like not just your problem, it's our problem. So this is my small advice for you guys. Please feel free to talk. Please just have the conversation that you will lead going to take us many places. So thank you for your time. Thank you for choosing and trusting this platform. And thank you, Ms. Porciana, for always being there. She is exceptionally leading her country and also, supporting us in many, many causes. So Porciana, thank you very much again. And we hope to bother you again in those 12 weeks, again and again and again. So we hoped that you guys will learn many things from our mentors, from our speakers, and we would like to contribute as much as we can in this journey, and with one expectation from you all, that you guys will do the conversation, lead the conversation, and just bombard all the ideas that you have. So if you guys have any feedback, we are open for feedback. That is all from my side from now.
Thank you, Maheen. From my side, it's an honor and privilege to be here. And please, yes, do, as Maheen said, just please, let's keep up with a good conversation. Let's talk. Let's make these vital. Let's make these interesting. Let's make a little change together.
Thank you, Porciana. Yes, Mr. Andrew.
Right. So on my end, I really want to say for similar project, something that will be a success like this, and looking forward to hear more the project that we're going to do as team. And I'm very excited that we have different people from different backgrounds, culture, and skills as well. So bring our minds together and come up with a very impactful project, even as we dive into the and that's the thinking.
Thank you, Andrew. So if we don't have any questions, we would like to, all right, thank you everyone for your kind comments. Thank you very much. So thank you everyone for your time and take care. We'll catch each other in the coming